Welcome back to Capital Catch-Up. I'm Victor.
And I'm Lenny. We are looking at a stack of legislation and nominations from the 119th Congress that really runs the gamut, from the pipes beneath our feet to the satellites in space, and quite a bit in between.
That's right. Let's start with infrastructure, specifically energy infrastructure. We have a bit of a legislative echo happening between the chambers. In the House, we're looking at House Resolution 5301, the Pipes Act of 2025. Meanwhile, over in the upper chamber, there is Senate Bill 2975, the Pipeline Safety Act of 2025.
It's interesting to see these moving simultaneously. Historically, pipeline reauthorization is a battleground between environmental safety and energy efficiency. While the text of these specific bills is still being parsed, the dual introduction usually signals that Congress is facing a deadline to reauthorize the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. If you live near a major line, these bills determine how often inspections happen and what the penalties are for leaks.
Speaking of safety on the ground, Senate Bill 3775 caught my eye. It's titled the Stop Underrides Act 2.0. For those not familiar with the term, an underride crash is when a smaller vehicle slides underneath a semi-trailer. It's almost always fatal.
And the 2.0 in the title is significant. We've seen versions of this bill for years, trying to mandate stronger side and rear guards on trucks. The trucking industry has pushed back, citing weight and cost, but this reintroduction suggests safety advocates feel they have new momentum in 2026.
Moving from physical safety to economic security, there's a fascinating clash of philosophies in the labor bills introduced this week. On one hand, you have Senate Bill 3780, the Give America a Raise Act, which typically targets the federal minimum wage. On the other, you have House Resolution 1319, the Modern Worker Empowerment Act.
That House resolution is a direct response to the gig economy debates we've seen over the last decade. It aims to standardize the definition of an employee versus an independent contractor across federal laws. If passed, this would likely make it easier to classify gig workers as contractors, protecting that business model but potentially limiting access to traditional benefits.
And looking even further ahead, there is House Resolution 7334, the National Commission on Robotics Act. We talk so much about AI software, but this bill focuses on the hardware, the physical robots entering the workforce. It's an attempt to create a regulatory framework before the technology completely outpaces the law.
Which is smart, because the supply chain for that tech is critical. That actually ties into a committee meeting scheduled for February 26th. The Senate Select Committee on Intelligence is holding a closed briefing on tech competition, critical minerals, and supply chain security.
Closed briefing, meaning no press, no public. They're likely discussing the raw materials, lithium, cobalt, needed for those robots and our EVs, and how to secure them against geopolitical rivals.
Before we leave the labor sector, I have to mention Senate Bill 3766, the Make Congress Drive Union-Made Act. It's likely a messaging bill, but it mandates that vehicles used by Congress be manufactured by union labor. It's a clear signal of support to the UAW and other auto unions.
Let's pivot to healthcare and education. There's a bill here, House Resolution 6494, the Territories Health Equity Act of 2025. This is a recurring issue where U.S. territories like Puerto Rico and Guam face caps on Medicaid funding that the 50 states don't face. This bill aims to remove those caps,
which would be a massive change for the healthcare systems on those islands. On the education front, we have Senate Bill 3770, the Strong Start Act, likely aimed at Head Start funding, and House Resolution 6392, the Homeschool Graduation Recognition Act.
That homeschool bill is interesting. It implies a federal push to ensure homeschool diplomas are treated with legal equivalents to public school diplomas for things like federal hiring or military enlistment.
Speaking of the military, we have House Resolution 4016, the Department of Defense Appropriations Act 2026. This is the big one, the checkbook for the Pentagon. We'll be watching this for amendments regarding Ukraine or other hotspots.
And related to that is Senate Bill 3765, the Medal of Sacrifice Act. This usually pertains to Gold Star families or veterans injured in the line of duty, potentially expanding eligibility for certain honors or benefits.
Victor, we also need to look at privacy and consumer protection. Senate Bill 3779 has a title that doesn't mince words, the ICE Out of Our Faces Act.
It's vivid imagery. This deals with facial recognition technology used by immigration and customs enforcement. There's been a bipartisan push to limit how government agencies use biometric data scraped from driver's license databases without a warrant.
And on the consumer side, Senate Bill 3774, the SCAM Act, targets fraudulent practices, likely focusing on online and telecommunication scams that target seniors.
Now, looking at foreign affairs, we have House Resolution 7055, the Restoring Sovereignty and Human Rights in Nicaragua Act of 2026. This suggests a tightening of sanctions or diplomatic pressure on the Ortega regime, continuing a long history of U.S. involvement in Central American politics.
Let's move to the people being tapped to run these agencies. The administration has sent a flurry of nominations to the Senate.
A big one is Scott Socha, nominated to be Director of the National Park Service. With the upcoming semi-centennial, the 250th anniversary of the U.S., the Park Service Director is going to be a very visible role.
We also see Christopher T. Hansen being reappointed to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Stability there is key as the energy grid debates nuclear power's role in a carbon-free future.
And a slate of State Department nominees, Jeremy Carl and Wesley Brooks for Assistant Secretary positions, and William Long as Ambassador to Iceland. Also, Ashley Stowe has been nominated to the Federal Election Commission. With the midterms always looming in the distance, the FEC's composition is vital for campaign finance enforcement.
Finally, we need to touch on a heavy but necessary topic. On February 26th, the Senate Judiciary Committee is holding a business meeting to mark up several bills regarding child safety. This includes House Resolutions 6719 and Senate Bills 3398 and 3397.
These bills focus on criminalizing the coercion of children, penalizing the distribution of abuse material, and, crucially, updating sentencing guidelines. It's a comprehensive package trying to modernize the criminal code for the digital age, where these crimes are unfortunately proliferating.
They are also considering the nomination of Gregory Gilmore for U.S. Attorney in Illinois during that session.
For those who want to read the raw transcripts of what's been happening on the floor, the Congressional Record has released volumes 29 through 33, covering mid-February 2026. It's all there in black and white.
So, what to watch for? Keep an eye on that PIPES Act. If the House and Senate versions can be reconciled quickly, we might see a bill on the president's decks next month.
And watch the Modern Worker Empowerment Act. If that gains traction, it's going to spark a massive lobbying war between labor unions and the gig tech giants.
We'll be here to track it all. Thanks for listening to Capital Catch-Up.
See you next time.